Imagine standing at a crossroads. You can see before you a road that is neatly paved, heavily tread. It is the road of logic, facts, figures, the linear path, a path of dichotomous perspectives based on a limited paradigm, anchored in what can only be measured. Next to this path is another, perhaps more messy path. This is the path of hidden messages, intuition, the path of exploration and discovery. It's the path of obscurity. Take a moment and decide which path is right for you. When you're ready, open your eyes and let's explore the garden of knowing. Welcome to episode 17 of our journey through the gardens of the mystic. I'm Leandra Witchwood, and today we're discussing divination and the various tools practitioners can use and why these methods work. Even when they seem woo-woo, mysterious, or too good to be true, or too good to be valid, or too out there to be valid. Our goal in this garden is to gain a clearer understanding of how divination connects us with our inner wisdom, with those subtle symbols and signals that are coming from the divine. Divination is the practice of seeking guidance and knowledge from sources that are beyond ordinary perception, beyond linear thinking. Whether it's tarot, pendulums, tea leaves, runes, coins, or scrying bowls, each tool serves as focused leverage of understanding, a gateway to your intuition and subconscious. Each tool works because it engages our mind's symbolic language, allowing you to see connections that logic might miss. Through divination, we tap into that liminal space where we seek messages overlooked by traditional methods. When you are able to see what lies beneath the surface, you can identify the core influences of that situation. You can identify the driving force. This applies to any situation where you seek guidance and clarity. Maybe you have an important decision to make, or you're in the middle of some heavy shadow work, or you simply need to know if someone's being honest with you. Divination might be the tool you need to find the messages and the intentions hidden beneath the surface. When we consult our cards, our pendulums, our coins, our tea leaves, we are tuning into the mind. Divination tools act like mirrors for the inner self, reflecting subconscious patterns or messages from spirit. They can reveal shadows we might otherwise ignore or explain away with logic. When logic works against us, we can tap into those liminal spaces to gain the clarity we need in the situation. Our brains are hardwired to also notice patterns. Divination tools provide structure to randomness, allowing your intuition to interpret the patterns. Again, through removing that linear thinking and that logic brain, the mix becomes more clear, like muddied water where the silt floats to the bottom. We can see what lies beneath. We can see what has been mucking up the process or working against us. We can see the situation. We can see the shadows within the situation. We can see the limiting beliefs that are deeply rooted, blocking us from success. One of my teachers called this crazy logic. It is the idea that we have to move through the situation in a seemingly random or crazy pattern to reach a level of understanding. This often occurs when there is a lesson we must learn, yet we cannot seem to learn it unless the message is received through chaos. Divination is a sacred dialogue, a conversation with the universe, our higher self, our spirit guides, our spirit team. bridging the seen and unseen realms. When we frequently tap into these hidden or liminal spaces, we begin to walk our path with one foot in the liminal and one foot in the physical world. Through this active engagement, we can better learn to decipher the messages and understand the undercurrents controlling our lives, controlling our actions, controlling our subconscious. In the Gardens of the Mystic, each garden represents a unique aspect of our spiritual exploration. The Garden of Knowing within this program focuses on divination, deepening our intuition, and connecting with the communication of our spirit team. This is where we develop our psychic skills. We recognize our psychic strengths. If this journey has resonated with you, I invite you to apply now to join the Gardens of the Mystic. Check the link in the show notes or visit leandrawitchwood.com to learn more. In this episode, I want to explore the Garden of Knowing through some pendulum work. So if you have a pendulum, grab it. If you don't worry about it. All you really need is something heavy on a string or a chain. Any object will do. And now I want you to learn to calibrate your pendulum just a little bit. So if you notice, when you say yes, your pendulum should swing a certain way. Just as when you say no, it should either spin or swing another way. This is you calibrating your pendulum to your unique energy. So now let's formulate a question. I want you to formulate a question that has a yes or no answer. And I want you to use your pendulum after you've been able to calibrate it to get a response. Once you have your response, I want you to grab your journal and document your experience. Document how your pendulum communicates with you. I wanted to take some time to help you learn to calibrate your pendulum. Now, you can use any sort of pendulum you like. You can use one that's a crystal or metal pendulum on a string or on a chain. You can use any object really that is weighted on a chain or a string to work as your pendulum, and you can calibrate them to work with you in the way that you need it to work with you so that you understand the answers you're getting. So when I typically start working with the pendulum, of course, I will cleanse the energy so that it's clean, slate, ready to go. Then what I do is I begin asking questions I already know the answers to. So I can determine if it's working with me or not. And I've had some pendulums, my metal one, for instance, that was a little cheeky starting out. So it would tell me false answers that I knew the answers to. And when I asked it if it was messing with me, it said yes. So this is why we calibrate, so that we can read the responses accurately. So I am going to work with my tiger's eye pendulum. I am working with a wooden disc that has the yes, no, I don't know words already written on it. You do not have to have that. All you need, all you're wearing is a necklace, you can take that necklace off and begin working with it as a pendulum if that's all you have available. But if you want some extra tools, you want some extra insights, you can definitely use the extra things. Mats, discs, boards. Some boards even have the letters of the alphabet engraved on them so that you can start spelling things out if you want to get more accurate. But today I'm just going to use my tiger's eye, and I might switch over to my metal pendulum so that you can get an idea of how I do this work. So first, I'm going to start asking it questions. First things first. I am going to cleanse it. So I'm going to use smoke or salt, maybe even salt water, and I'm going to give it a good cleanse. Next, I'm going to start asking it questions I already know the answer to, or I know are unanswerable. So the first question I'm going to ask my pendulum is a question I know is a yes answer. And I'm going to watch the way it swings. And for me, I want my pendulum to swing up and down or back and forth for a yes answer, because I know that that's how I'm going to read it. So I'm going to ask the question and I'm going to watch my pendulum, trying not to move as much as possible. And in this demonstration, it is moving back and forth. The pendulum is moving back and forth for the yes. And I'm getting a bigger yes the more I sit with this question for the answer. So I'm getting a bigger yes the more I sit with this question. So yes, this pendulum is already calibrated to do yes back and forth in that motion. Now I'm going to ask it a no, and it's a question that I know the answer is no. So now my goal is to get it to swing. For no, I want it to swing side to side. No circles, not back and forth, side to side. And as I ask it this question, as I sit with the question, the no answer is becoming very evident. It is very much swinging side to side instead of back and forth for the no answer. So I know it is calibrated that way for no, the way I want to receive no. Now I'm going to ask it a question that I know is not a certain answer. There's no certain answer to it because it is not something that can be answered right now. And my goal to get this pendulum to answer me the way I need it to answer me is circles. That is the unknown, or try again, or I don't know, for me. That's how I read it. And it is starting to go in circles. Now this circle is going clockwise. So typically I read that as it is an unknown, but the answer may be known soon. If it swung counterclockwise, then it tells me that the unknown answer will remain unknown for a long period of time. So let me try that again with my metal pendulum. And I want it again. I want the yes and no to go back and forth, and I want the no to go side to side, and I want the unknown to be circles. So I'm going to set it up. I'm going to ask it my yes question, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit with the question and wait. And it is swinging back and forth to yes. Now I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to ask it my no question. Again, I want the side to side motion with the no, so that it's very clear to me that it is answering me no. And I'm going to sit with the question until it starts to move. And there it goes, side to side. And the longer I sit with the question, the bigger the no gets. All right. So finally, with my metal pendulum, I am going to ask it a question that is uncertain, that I know is uncertain, and I want it to tell me if it also thinks that it is uncertain. So again, I'm looking for the circular motion. And while you're doing this, you're trying to not influence it. You're trying to not move your hand. You're trying to not influence the motion. And again, here we go. We have a circle, big, wide, clockwise circle again. So this is an unknown, but the answer may be known in the near future. There we go. So now that you have it all calibrated, you can begin using your pendulums to get answers. I hope that was helpful. Use this following affirmation to help you through the process. I welcome insight from the seen and unseen, trusting divination to reveal what I am ready to know. I welcome insight from the seen and unseen, trusting divination to reveal what I am ready to know. If you're ready to deepen your practice and learn more about divination, spirit guides, and how to develop your psychic abilities, I invite you to apply for the Garden of the Mystic program. It is opening soon, and I am already taking applications. Visit leandrawitchwood.com or check the link in the show notes. Thank you for joining me, and I encourage you to keep practicing with your pendulum and experience what you can with other divination tools. Document your journey and reflect on your experiences. In our next episode, we dive into the clairs, our intuitive senses that help us interpret subtle messages.